Where's the little guy with the...
Okay, here we go. Welcome everybody. This is Beth Ienni, licensed therapist and food addiction recovery coach. And I am here today with a client named Cathi. Welcome, Cathi.
Thank you very much.
And if you're just joining me live, this is Beth Ienni, licensed therapist and food addiction recovery coach. And we're chatting with Cathi, who wants to talk to you about her journey. She just recently graduated my 8-week in-home rehab, which is an 8-week online course and coaching program for food addicts. And she wants to tell you about her story. So first of all, Cathi, would you be kind enough to share with us what it was like before we met?
Sure, I can do that. Let's say I was a very angry, resentful, bitter, guilt-ridden, tired person whose life was full of many ups and downs. I was moody and crabby and full of guilt, self-hatred. I was borderline depression. I hid myself away from my friends and my family. I think I caused arguments without knowing the reason why. I was compulsively tired all the time, suffered from heartburn, and I couldn't sleep. And I think I was generally just really hard to get along with. I was always either binging or dieting or planning my next binge of where I was going to hide food or what diet I was going to start on next. So I was either compulsively eating, or I was so hungry I couldn't stand it. I thought of food 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I think when I started my day, it would be hopping on the scale, the weigh scale, and my mood basically would be determined by what I saw on the scale. And that's pretty much in a nutshell what I was like before.
Well, thanks. That really covers so much, because you talked about, just everything from all the mental issues that you were having, both with food and just with yourself. And then the way that you interacted with people. And of course, sometimes we don't realize it till we stop what we've been doing, right? And heartburn. So gosh, and then just the weight obsession, and I love what you said about basing your mood on that scale, but I'm sure every single person listening can relate to that one. So I really appreciate your sharing all that, because I think a lot of people feel very alone, Cathi. They think they're the only ones. And like you say, they kind of hide it. They feel guilty. And they're just pretty sure that they're defective people who just don't seem to have their act together or something. And it's just not true. This is an addiction like any other addiction. It does have idiosyncrasies, but this is so helpful for us, Cathi, because I don't want people to think that they're alone, or that they are defective in some way. This is an illness, just like any other addiction is an illness. So, but thank goodness you identified the problem as food addiction, and you got some help. And then just before we started this today, I love what you said. You said you were surprised that how quickly it cleared up without 5 years of therapy. Because I always talk about that. Hey, you don't need 5 years of therapy to get better, but you had mentioned that yourself. So yeah, so tell us about that and what you're experiencing now.
What, you want to hear about my 5 years of therapy?
Oh, no, I'm saying you didn't need 5 years of therapy to get your breakthrough, which is cool, because,
right.
We've only known each other. Well, I don't know. Let's see. When did you graduate from the 8-week program? Do you know?
26th of August.
Wow. So that's just less than a couple weeks ago. So I've known you for 10 weeks. And how soon into the program do you feel like you started to really feel free?
Probably maybe 2.5 weeks.
Yep,
I
yeah, that's what people say.
I
Absolutely.
I think my head cleared up and
Mhm.
I started to get that little twinkling of hope,
Yep.
and it just made you want to keep going and surge forward.
Absolutely. There's that lovely momentum that happens. And, a lot of people, they're so sure that it's a purely mental problem. And while there's certainly are mental aspects and we're very holistic, we want to cover, the mental side and all sides. We do want to cover all the sides. But if you're missing the physical side, then you're missing just how much of a mind altering substance the foods that you're eating are. You're missing out on something really important. And so the reason why we can help people break free so quickly is that as long as you're, a human being and you have the same properties as a human being, you're going to respond in the same way on a physical level. And that's so important to know. And in case anyone's worried, I know a lot of people are worried about deprivation. It's not just about eliminating things. It's about eating good stuff, right? And so and I don't want to talk about this too much more because I don't like to get distracted with the details, but just in case people are worried, food addiction is not just about eliminating things. It's about fueling your brain and your body. And not only that, it's important to figure out what works for you and not do a one size fits all thing. So just again, I really want to emphasize that it's not about deprivation. It's about
Oh,
eating what's good for you. So you never have to be hungry again a day in your life, because no one should be hungry, for crying out loud. I mean, unless they have to be for some other horrible reason that has nothing to do with addiction, right?
right.
So we don't need any more problems on top of the ones that unfortunately some people have anyway. But so yeah, so tell us what life is like now.
Oh my goodness. I think that for the first time in my life, as far back as I can remember, which was probably the age of 2, where my mother caught me in the fridge trying to get into the ice cream bucket. I don't think about where my next meal is coming from. I have basically food neutrality, which means I don't think about food all the time, 24/7. My relationships have improved. My husband doesn't walk around thinking he's in a minefield, wondering what Cathi he's going to meet. Um, I'm confident and I'm happy, and I look forward to what the next day is going to bring you, as well as the future. I'm ready to try new things, or even do things that would get me into a turmoil. Like if someone said right off the cuff, "Oh, let's go do something," I'd immediately think, "Oh my God, what am I going to wear? What am I going to eat?" I had all that turmoil. Um, I don't have any food compulsion anymore. I like myself, actually. I'm happy with my body. I'm not embarrassed by it. And I have a renewed sense of my spirit. And I have hope for whatever comes next. I'm not afraid. I'm not hiding myself.
Well, that's a huge transformation.
It
That's
is in such a
amazing.
short time. Yes.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And I always tell people, we all come to recovery at different places and from different places, right? What's cool is, you didn't come in with morbid obesity. You didn't come in with all those things. And I do want to encourage everyone who's listening, please don't wait until you've gotten that far down. Don't let this addiction bring you that far down, because what Cathi did is she didn't let it get any farther than that. I mean, she didn't have the 5 different life-threatening medical conditions before she reached out for help. So I just want everyone who's listening to realize, you can stop this before it completely destroys your health. I think that's just really important for people to hear, and how quickly it can turn around. Um, And like you said, you've been dealing with this for, I mean, I don't know if you want to tell your age, but this has been quite a long time since you were 2 years old.
Oh, yeah, I'm heading into my 61st year. So it's been a long time that this obese person in this little body was just struggling to get out. It was a fight, constant fight all the time.
And that's just not a high quality of life. That's awful. And it was changing you so that you were acting differently and all this. And um, so, gosh, what a cross to bear for so long. But I just want people to realize that even if you've been struggling that long, you can turn it around quickly. It's important to know. So, yeah, what I always like to ask at this point, Cathi, is do you have any advice for people who are maybe just so, I want to say they're just so hopeless. They just can't imagine trying another thing. Because I think you're like most food addicts, you probably tried 100 things in your life and failed
Oh,
ultimately.
everything, everything. I guess what I would say to someone who is sort of in the same boat was or is, there really is light at the end of the tunnel. Um, I was searching for as long as I can remember for something, for anybody that a lot of people don't get it. They don't understand. It's just, oh, well, quit eating. It's not a big deal. But but in finding your program, you understand. And there's a tribe of women that get it. They understand. It's like finding a soft place to land, is what it's like.
Well, that's lovely. And I'm so glad you mentioned the tribe, as we call ourselves. It is mostly women. We occasionally work with men, but it is mostly women. And we are a very special group. We're very, very supportive. And now you have agreed to be one of the people, one of the elders, as it were. We call them graduate mentors, who just are there to lend a helping hand. And we just have a lot of people like Cathi who are just truly special people who just want to be there for new people and just encourage you and say, hey, you can do it. If we can do it, you can do it. If we could fail 100 times and then get it together, so can you. So, and this is a great example of that. Cathi, who does not like the limelight, was willing to share her story. So, is there anything else you want to share about your recovery and or anything else you want to say to our viewers?
I one thing I just wanted to say is I lost two friends. One who had anorexia, who had a heart attack, and the next one was my diet buddy. We would go to every diet club there was, and after the diet club, we would go out and binge. And he was up 100 pounds, down 100 pounds, and unfortunately, I lost him. And when I did, he was diabetic and depressed and couldn't walk and had heart problems and kidney problems. I wished he could have hung on long enough to be part of the program and find the healing that I found.
And you're bringing, oh gosh, well, and that's the thing. That's why I really hope that people who are listening don't wait until it's too late,
Hmm.
because it is too late at some point. You pass or something worse. I hate to say it, but there are things worse than dying. And I think people who are down and out know what I'm talking about. Just living with pain or immobility or tons of medications or just very low quality of life, whatever it is, it's not good. So yeah, please don't wait too long. And it is heartbreaking to realize that you don't even have to be overweight to die of food addiction. Certainly an anorexic is usually not overweight, but they hurt themselves. Bulimics also often are not overweight, but they are hurting themselves. So, and just the sheer mental torture, Cathi, honestly, isn't that bad enough? I mean, and you of all people would know this because you didn't have the five different life-threatening medical problems, but just the mental torture, isn't that enough to want to get out of it?
Absolutely. It's life altering, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So I really do hope that people understand that this is a serious addiction, and And I might as well say this too, it really is the number one killer of all Americans. That is according to the CDC. If you take into account that the number one killer of all Americans is heart disease, and all the risk factors for heart disease are caused by food addiction. And every other thing in the top 10 can also be related to food addiction, either directly or indirectly. And I'm sure whether you're in Canada or Western Europe or any other Western civilization, you probably are suffering with the same problems where you live. It's just that unfortunately in modern society, food addiction does kill more people than any other single factor that I'm aware of. So it's something that we need to sit up and take notice of. And even if it's not going to kill you, it's going to kill you mentally or spiritually, if not physically. So I hope people are going to take this seriously and stop blaming all their problems on being old, because it's not just because you're old, guys. It's because you're eating yourselves into sickness and pain, and it's not necessary. And you've seen this also, Cathi, with our tribe members. They talk about how the pain gets better quickly, right? And the blood pressure goes down quickly. So even if you've got serious medical problems, these things turn around more quickly than you realize. Diabetes numbers come down. It's really quite amazing that you don't even have to lose a lot of weight to have your doctor all of a sudden say, hey, we can't keep giving you this amount of medication. It's dangerous. Your blood pressure is too low. Your blood sugar is too low. Things change quickly. And it's good for people to hear that too. Isn't it amazing to hear all the good news of the people that go through that do have those horrible problems and see the gift? It's just fun, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So thank goodness people can get better. And I'm so sorry to hear about those two friends of yours. That's heartbreaking. I was anorexic when I was a teenager, and thank goodness I didn't die from it. It's a very serious illness.
It is.
So thank you so much for sharing that. And is there anything else you would like to share?
I would say just give it a try. Just do it. Just like Nike says, just do it.
Yep, recovery is about action, and food addicts tend to be frogs in the pot boiling to death, as that horrible story goes, and they tend to wait and wait and wait and collect more research and read another book, and they don't get into action. So thank you for giving them maybe one more one more kick in the you know what. Say, hey, get into action. Stop thinking about it. Get into action. Take a step. If you're interested in taking a step today, I almost forgot to say, we offer free calls to people who are interested in getting out of food addiction. It's about a 1-hour call. It's for people who are serious about professional help. And if you're interested, you can just go to amybethcall.com. That's Amy, A-M-Y, Beth, B-E-T-H, call, CALL.com, amybethcall.com. If you're on Facebook, I'll also put it in the comment section below, a link that you can just click. But yeah, it's a free call. If you're really serious about getting better, there is help available, but you do have to take yourself seriously enough to get professional help and not settle for all the stuff that you've already tried 5 times and it just doesn't work for you because you're a food addict and the other stuff isn't meant for food addiction. And I will say there are some things that are quote unquote meant for food addiction, but what I find is they're either not professional or they're one size fits all, and they don't seem to work either. So if you really want help, we're here for you. And thank you so much, Cathi. I appreciate you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And I'll end this meeting and talk to you more in a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.